Ever catch yourself daydreaming about winning the lottery? Like that giant check would solve everything.
Oh, yeah, that's the dream, right?
Total financial freedom, no more worries. It's tempting to think that's what prosperity is all about.
Definitely.
But what if I told you there's a whole other side to it?
Hmm.
Something they don't usually mention in those lottery daydreams.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
That's what this deep dive is all about today. We're taking inspiration from an episode of the Vibes of Prosperity podcast called Prosperity Beyond Money, Health, Happiness, and Relationships,
Okay.
hosted by Carol and John. And let me tell you, they have some seriously thought-provoking insights on what it means to be truly prosperous.
I like where this is going.
Right from the start, they hit you with this analogy. Money is like the flashy sports car of prosperity.
Okay, I can see that.
Sure, it's exciting. Who wouldn't want to be behind the wheel?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't just hit the gas without a few other essentials first.
Or like an engine
Yeah,
or wheels.
exactly. And that's where well-being comes in. They describe it as the actual engine of your prosperity.
That's what I love. They really nailed it with that comparison. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So walk us through this well-being idea. What are they talking about here? Because it's got to be about more than just hitting the gym, right?
Oh, absolutely. They share the story about a CEO, super successful on paper, tons of money, but constantly battling stress-related health problems.
Oh,
Turns out all the wealth in the world couldn't buy him the energy or the mental clarity to actually enjoy it.
as you think.
And that's their point. That's where they bring in the mental and emotional aspects of health, things like mindfulness, meditation, as being crucial for true prosperity.
So it's not just about being able to afford the best doctors or anything like that.
Not at all. They argue it's about cultivating a state of mind, a sense of inner peace that allows you to actually experience and appreciate whatever level of material wealth you have.
Which, let's be honest, is something a lot of us struggle with. We're constantly chasing bigger paychecks, but are we neglecting the things that actually make us feel good?
And they back it up with research. They cite this study about lottery winners.
Okay, this I got to hear.
You'd think winning millions would be pure happiness, right?
Right.
But the study found many winners ended up less happy than before, facing relationship problems, struggling to find purpose beyond their newfound wealth.
Wow. Okay, so money really can't buy happiness.
That's what they're saying, and it's kind of a relief to hear, isn't it?
It is, because if money's not the ticket to lasting happiness, then what is? What did Carol and John have to say about that?
Well, this is where they shift gears to those small joys, the everyday experiences. Apparently, we tend to overestimate how happy big events will make us and underestimate the power of those small, consistent moments.
It's like we're programmed to chase those big milestones, but maybe real happiness is more about savoring the little things. It's like we're wired to chase the big, shiny things. But real happiness is often hiding in plain sight.
Totally. And you know what they say is a huge factor in experiencing those small joys.
Let me guess. Relationships. Don't tell me money can't buy me love.
Well, it can't buy you connection, and that's what Carol and John argue is a secret weapon for a prosperous life.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this secret weapon.
So they talk about this study about people living in Okinawa, Japan.
Okinawa, okay.
It's known for having a really high concentration of centenarians, people who live to be 100 or older.
Okay, that tracks. Longevity, prosperity, there's got to be a link there.
Right. And get this, one of the biggest factors they found wasn't just diet or genetics, but their incredibly strong social bonds.
Interesting.
They had this thing called MOI, basically, like lifelong support groups, provides this sense of belonging and purpose.
So it's like having your own built-in crew to navigate life with. Makes sense, two heads are better than one and all that.
Exactly. And it's more than just practical support. They said these connections can actually help buffer stress, which, and this goes back to their earlier point, directly impacts both our mental and physical health.
Right.
It's all connected.
Okay, so strong relationships equal less stress, better health, more happiness. Are we starting to see a theme here? Prosperity is starting to feel less like winning the lottery and more like something we can actually cultivate.
And like anything worth cultivating, there are some key ingredients. Remember those small joys we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, Carol and John suggest a pretty simple practice: gratitude. taking time to appreciate the good stuff, even the little thing.
That's interesting because it kind of sounds like mindfulness, which they already highlighted as being important.
Exactly, it all ties together. They argue that focusing on what you're grateful for can actually shift your mindset. You go from scarcity to abundance.
It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to recognize and appreciate what you have before you can fully enjoy anything more.
And one of the best ways to fill your cup, they say, is by spending quality time with loved ones.
I think we can all relate to needing a bit more of that. But it's tough these days. Everyone's so busy, always running around.
I hear you, but they emphasize that it doesn't have to be these extravagant vacations or anything.
It's about those small, intentional moments of connection.
Totally. Like calling a friend instead of just liking their post online, or having an actual conversation at dinner instead of everyone staring at their phones.
Right. Putting in the effort.
It makes a difference.
It all comes back to being present, doesn't it? Like they were saying. Putting down the phone, tuning out distractions, and just being there with the people in front of you.
It's huge. Honestly, it kind of loops back to that self-care aspect. Remember how we were talking about that earlier?
Yeah.
You can't really show up for those relationships if you're running on empty yourself.
So true. It's like they're saying true prosperity is this interconnected system, right? Health, happiness, relationships. You need all three working together.
Like a three-legged stool, they said. If one leg is weak, the whole thing's unstable.
Such a good analogy. So we're not talking about some finish line you cross, like, boom, I'm successful.
Not at all.
It's more about finding that balance in all these areas of your life.
It's a much more holistic way to look at prosperity. Not just about your bank account, but your physical health, mental health, how you're feeling emotionally, your connections with others.
This has been so eye-opening. Honestly, it really makes you think about perspective. We get so caught up in what we don't have.
It's easy to do.
We forget to appreciate all the wealth we already have in our lives.
That's so true.
This was a good reminder to shift that focus. Invest in ourselves, in our relationships, those simple things that actually make life feel richer, more meaningful.
Totally. And, what if everyone started prioritizing those things?
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Could have a ripple effect, right? Extending beyond ourselves to our communities even further.
Maybe true prosperity is contagious.
Wouldn't that be something?
It's definitely something to think about. And on that note, we'll leave you with that food for thought. Until next time, keep diving deep, and remember, true prosperity. It's about way more than just your bank account. It's about living a life that's full of vitality, joy, and genuine connection.